Hey YouTube, it's Jake, the Ticket Leprechaun, here to announce a new series I'm going to do on my channel. One of my favorite things about baseball and about the hobby, if you are familiar with my channel, is I love all things Hall of Fame related. And I like to think that I know a little bit more about Hall of Famers and the voting process and things like that than the average baseball fan. One of the big reasons for that, I did a lot of research, built a spreadsheet myself with a lot of statistics by hand via baseball reference, and kind of came up with my own strategy of how I base my opinion of whether I think a player is Hall of Fame worthy or not. I also read a Cooperstown casebook, which doesn't really qualify me as an expert, but it is a good read. It has a lot of good information about the Hall of Fame, and I like to think I'm pretty well studied about the topic. So what I'm going to do in this future series is go over my views on the Hall of Fame, the process, and a lot of different things that I'm going to share at the end of the video. But today I wanted to announce the series, give you some background information on how I base my ideas and my thoughts in relation to the Hall of Fame, and go over a few key points. So let's jump right into it. Inducted in the Hall of Fame, there are 83 pitchers. There are 181 hitters. If you want to be technical, 2 of them are DHs and the rest are position players. 22 managers, 10 umpires, 37 executives and pioneers. 235 of those players are former Major League players. There are 35 Negro League players, and while they are very deserving of the Hall of Fame, there is very little statistics known about them. So for the purpose of my arguments, these are just based on players that have Major League statistics. So that means no executives or pioneers, no Negro League players, no umpires, no managers. These are players with complete statistics from the Major Leagues. My criteria. There are basically 2 levels of statistical analysis that I use, okay? And each category, which I'm going to go over the categories, there is an automatic qualifier in my mind, that level, that threshold, that if they meet this point, they're automatically in. Not everyone believes in that, but that is one of the ways I view the Hall of Fame and how I evaluate things. Again, this is just my opinion. Second level is a qualifier level. So a player would need 2 or more at this threshold in different categories in order to qualify for the Hall of Fame. So if they only reach 1 of these, they do not qualify for the Hall of Fame. They have to have 2. And I'll give you an example as we go over the categories. So let's go through the hitting categories first, all right? Home runs, okay? The automatic qualifying level is 500 homers. I believe that if you're a 500 home run club member, you should be in the Hall of Fame. Now, the qualifying level is 400 home runs, okay? So if you hit at least 400, that's a qualifier, all right? And I'll get into how that works as I combine this with the next statistic. The next category is hits. 3,000 hits to me is an automatic qualifier, okay? The qualifying level is 2,500 hits. So if you think about the home runs and the hits together, that means if you have 400 home runs and 2,500 hits, in my book, you're a Hall of Famer. Let's keep going. I'll go through the next few sections for hitters a little bit quicker, now that you guys have the gist of it. For stolen bases, 800 is the automatic qualifier. 500 stolen bases is the secondary qualifier. RBIs, 1,800 is the automatic. 1,500 is the qualifier. Now, pitching. And as you can tell as I went through the hitting, so far it's mainly counting statistics. I do lean more towards counting statistics as I prefer a consistent 20-year career with obvious greatness baked into that, as opposed to just a peak or a shorter time frame. I would rather have 20 years of a really, really good player than only 10 of a great player. That may be a whole debate in itself, but we'll get into more of that as I go forward. For pitchers, wins, 300 wins, automatic qualifier. We may never see it again, but I do see it as an automatic qualifier. 200 wins is the qualifying level. So 200 wins gets you the qualifying. Strikeouts, 3,000 strikeouts. is an automatic qualifier. 2,500 is the qualifying level. And then finally, saves. 500 saves is automatic. 400 is a qualifier. Now, moving on into the hardware section of my categories. Some of these apply to pitchers, some apply to hitters, some apply to both. Gold Gloves. 12 is automatic. 7 is a qualifier. Silver Sluggers. 12 is an automatic. 7 is a qualifier. Cy Youngs. 3 is automatic. 2 is a qualifier. MVP. 3 is automatic. 2 is a qualifier. All-Star selections. 15 is automatic. 10 is a qualifier. Batting titles. 8 is an automatic. 3 is a qualifier. Pitching titles. 5 pitching titles is automatic. 2 pitching titles is a qualifier. Then the last one that is a qualifier for either position or pitcher is a Triple Crown. So the hitting Triple Crown will be a qualifier, like for Miguel Cabrera, for example. A pitching Triple Crown would be a qualifier for a pitcher, like when Clayton Kershaw did it. Multiple numbers of those does not matter. If you do it once, it's a qualifier. If you've done it multiple times, it's still a qualifier. That's how I view that section. I do want to note that before I compiled all of this data and all of this information, I came up with my thresholds ahead of time because I didn't want to be biased because I liked certain players or didn't like certain players. I wanted to set the standard before I really dug deep into a lot of different players. So on my spreadsheet that I have, every single player in baseball history that has met even one of those qualifiers in any category is on my list. I also have another section where I'm tracking current players. So in the upcoming series that I'm going to do, hopefully you guys are still with me and you're interested in this Hall of Fame stuff that I'm going to do. Some of the videos I have in mind are a next 5 years of the Writer's Ballot predictions, who will make it in what year, who won't make it in. The next video, and not in any particular order, I may do them in different order. Other players who should be in, whether they're currently on the ballot or they're already off the ballot and they're on the various versions of the Veterans Committee. The modern era, today's game, golden years, early days, those different subcommittees. A video called If They Retired Today, the guys playing right now that I think if they retired, they would be Hall of Famers. Pack Your Plaques. Talk about all the guys that I think are currently in that should not be in. Future players to watch. So guys that I'm currently tracking that I think are on a Hall of Fame pace. And then a special version of that that I'll get into later about how many Hall of Famers are playing right now and usually play in any given year. So that I'll take a stab at that for future projection. Let me know what you guys think of this Hall of Fame series. If you're interested in it, which parts sound interesting to you, please comment, like, subscribe. I look forward to doing this for nothing else for me, so I can document it and look back in a couple years and see what I got right. Until next time, guys, keep collecting. God bless.